All right, so today's topic is brought to you by Prep For It. He actually asked us in a previous video, what are your thoughts on camel clothing during crisis or a get out of Dodge scenario? Would you stand out in your area? And do you have a secondary bug out location? And so this is a multiple question, but for me, when most people think of a bug out situation, they think of like economic collapse or an EMP or just rioting and rule without law and just craziness, right? Well, for me personally, when I think about bugging out, I like to put myself in real scenarios that have happened in my location. And so the one that I am most concerned about is tornadoes. Tornadoes take out a lot of homes here in Minnesota. There's a lot of times where storms alone will take out power, and I'm worried more about the weather than those things, especially right now. And so for me personally, when it comes to the clothing that are in my bug out bag and the things that I am going to be grabbing, it's going to be more like work clothes and heavy duty gloves, because I'm going to need to continue life after the fact. I'm going to have to keep going, and after everything, I'm going to have to come back here and I'm going to have to dig through debris. I'm going to have to cut down fallen trees, branches. So having a saw, that silky saw, the larger one, can really help with that. Again, if a tornado comes and rips my house right off the foundation, I'm going to be in a situation where I need water, and the water is going to be contaminated with gasoline, oil, transmission fluid, radiator fluid, toilet bowl cleaner, varnish, paint. It's just going to have so many different chemicals and stuff in it. And so having a way of distilling it and filtering all those chemicals and all that different stuff out of the water, that's a very big concern of mine. Another thing is, when it comes to bugging out, so like the bug out location, we have friends and family all over the place. And so when it comes to bugging out, if a tornado were to come, I can go to my parents' house, or I can go to a friend or a family, and we have friends all over the state of Minnesota, and we have friends and family that live outside of the state. And so we have a lot of places that we can go, but just because we have a place to go doesn't mean that I want to go and utilize all their resources and be a burden to them, especially if they're going to be the ones helping us in our time of need. And so it's important to me that I have my tent ready and our sleeping pads and sleeping bags and everything, so that we can self-sustain ourselves in their backyard and just utilize their bathroom. We're still going to need a shower and use their bathroom, but it's going to be, I don't want to be any more burden than I absolutely have to in those situations. And so those are the things that I think about more than just fleeing for the hills.
Yeah.
Another thing that makes us different than a lot of other people is we kind of live in the hills. Not literally, but the town we live in is only 680 people. The closest town is like 30 to 45 minute drive. And so there's really no reason for anybody to bug out from here. And if they do, they're going to be 45 minutes away from us. And so for us to bug in is a lot more efficient and a lot more sustainable, being ready and having what we need, because everybody here is probably going to be gone anyway. And so it helps us a lot just knowing that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, generally I'm prepared more for like the storm situations where something happens to our house and we need to go stay somewhere for a while until we can rebuild or fix whatever we need to for that. That's how in our household we think of as bugging out.
Yep.
If it was gonna be a government collapse and there was people rioting and stuff, we'd definitely be more prepared for bugging in. We have water purification, we have stockpiled water and food, and we have backup heaters, and if all these things, so that we're prepared and we'll be okay if we can't get our propane filled, if it's too dangerous to go outside to get food. We have a system in place to keep us safe at home. And again, we're 35 minutes away from the closest city, which is where everyone's gonna be going to resupply, where we already have supplies.
Yeah.
So that's what I think of when I think of bugging out weather situation, something happening to our house. And if it was a doomsday scenario that a lot of people think about in their head, we would be bunkering down.
Yeah.
And there's even some storms where we would do that. So again, that's why we're prepared like that. It's not so much for government collapses, it's for like blizzards.
Yeah.
We have enough food and water, and we have those heaters so that we can stay safe and warm until we can get out.
Yeah. Even this last winter, we would get feet of snow in these storms. We would go weeks with it being well below zero, and that's Fahrenheit. And so freezing is 32, and it was negative 15, negative 20 degree weather for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And so we could bunker down, vehicles wouldn't start, everything was frozen. It wasn't safe to be outside for longer than a minute or two, and we were perfectly fine. We could just bunker down. We had enough food, we had enough supplies, we had portable heaters, so even if the heat or the power went out, we'd still have heat. And we're able to take care of ourselves in the situation that we're in right now. We're really blessed that we bought the house that we got, and because we really do have everything we need here.
Yeah. And then for that camo part of the question, I do have camo in my wardrobe. I guess I wouldn't necessarily wear it if we were bugging in or out. It's just where we live, camo's kind of just a part of life, I guess you would say.
People wear camo on their wedding days.
Yeah, like they wear it all the time. Yeah, I have friends who've gotten married and they had camo incorporated in their wedding because we're kind of in a rural area. People rely on hunting to provide for their families. So I definitely have camo in my wardrobe. We wouldn't stand out because everyone does, because again, that's how they provide for their families.
Yeah.
I mean, just in our town, we have access to deer, ducks, geese, dove, turkeys.
Turkey. Yeah, there's lots of hunting seasons here.
Yeah, so
rabbit, squirrel.
Hunting is huge, so camo's definitely a go for me. And then for a secondary location, we don't really have anything that's a set secondary location because again, we're more equipped to bunker down and bug in, but we would, if it was a leave our house or die, we would probably just start heading north.
Towards Canada.
Yeah.
Again, that's a privilege that we have living where we do. The Canadian border is not that far away, so even if the United States collapses, we can head north to Canada. We live in a land of 10,000 lakes, and so we always have access to water. Hunting is a huge part of Minnesota culture, and so people walk around in camo all day, every day. That's just all they wear is camo. And it's just because of where we live, we have a lot more relaxed preps than I think a lot of other people do, because they have to have a specific plan that they need to stick to, where we can be a lot more fluid because we can head north, south, east, or west and find water. We can head north, south, east, or west and find friends or family that can take us in. Even just having money in our account, so if we have to get a hotel, so if something were to happen to our home or the state of Minnesota, we would have the money to get to other states, to different friends and different family that live outside of state. And it's just our plan is just fluid. We like to pick a situation that could happen and then just prepare for it the best we possibly can. And then we pick another situation and then we prep for that as best we can. And bugging out to us is just finding a friend or family, and bugging in is kind of our mainstay, our main focus as of right now anyway.
Yep. So I guess what I would say is we don't really have a like one size fits all bug out plan. It's kind of just scenario specific.
Yeah. We're a lot more fluid than I think most people are.
Yeah.
Because we focus on multiple different things instead of just one overall bug out location or bug out plan or bug out scenario. We have a lot of scenarios that we're ready for, and we have an idea of what we're gonna do, but it can change in a heartbeat and it's not gonna affect us at all. We're ready for the changes, we're ready for the inconveniences, and I think that's how we've always approached it.
Yep. So we definitely covered a lot in this video, kind of went all over with it. So if you have questions on anything we kind of just touched on and you want to know more about it, or it brought something up and you have a different question, make sure to drop that in the comment section below so we can answer it on another video.
Yeah, and can't wait to see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.